What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I talked about the Real Housewives of Potomac, so I thought I would give you a quick recap of my highlight moments from this week's episode, or should I say last night's episode, because that's how quick we are this week. So Cash Bar Candice is still trying to pretend that she and Chris can afford to buy a home together, as if they're not currently living in her mom's house and splitting a mortgage 3 ways rather than just 2 ways, if they even had it like that. You know what I mean? So she's looking at homes that are in the $1.2 million range, which is bizarre because just last year when they were walking through homes, they revealed that they can't even afford a $500,000 home. So how do you make the jump from not being able to afford $500,000 to seeing whether or not a $1.2 million home is possible for, like, it just doesn't even make sense. And her husband Chris was obviously not with the SHITS's either, because he was like, you know what, like, no. He changed the conversation from her home delusions to what happened at Karen's party, like, so effortlessly. Then Monique has all of the girls come to her lake house / cottage, and Karen and Gizelle, per usual, were green with envy. You know, they get there and they start talking crap. First of all, Gizelle complains that Monique's lake house is in the middle of nowhere. Girl, do you expect a lake in the middle of the city downtown, a lake house to be in the middle of the city downtown? Same with Karen as well. Like, you know, that's how you know you're broke. You are broke as SHIT when you don't understand that a cottage or a lake house is supposed to be out in the middle of nowhere. Like, they don't have the finances to comprehend that. So they thought they were dragging Monique, but all they were really doing was dragging themselves, you know? And I know that it probably ate them up deep in their souls, their jealous souls, that they had to take a golf cart between Monique's main house and guest house at the lake. I was like, Monique, you are so rich, girl. I love it. And speaking of guest house, her guest house was bigger than both Gizelle and Robyn's houses. You know, Robyn, you live in a townhouse. How are you going to hate on this girl's palatial lake house and her guest house, both of which are bigger than yours and not connected to their neighbors? Gizelle, we've seen the inside of your house. So, like, the fact that you can even talk about anyone's place is beyond me. Those women are just so hateful and disgusting to look at just because of how mean and nasty they constantly are for literally no reason. Gizelle, just admit that you're pressed that a beautiful woman is living the life that you thought that you would be afforded for whatever reason, but you didn't have. All you wound up with was a philandering pastor. And Robyn, admit that you're jealous that she's living the life that you once had before you were dumb enough to trust some random friend with no financial background with all of you and your husband's money, causing you both to lose everything that you once had. This might be a controversial opinion, you guys, but I'm Team Wendy. I will say though, her delivery is awful. Like, she's very antagonistic with people, but I'm Team Wendy. They have a girls' trip to go to. And I feel like what she really wanted to say, but she obviously couldn't say because it would be breaking the fourth wall, is that, listen, we have a job to do. We're supposed to be messy. We're gonna scream. We're gonna curse. We're gonna get incredibly drunk. No one wants a baby here to ruin that dynamic. And, you know, it's 100% true. Like, why is Ashley constantly walking around with this baby? Like, Monique had a baby around the same time as her, and you never see Monique's baby unless they're at home with, you know, her husband and her other kids as well. Like, she's able to compartmentalize that way. And I'm not talking about this season as well. You know what I mean? Like, she's obviously a couple months older than Dean is, but last season, like when he was first born and stuff like that, like, you just don't see that. I feel like Ashley, especially with her talking heads about being like a crunchy mom, is one of those women that acts like they're the first to ever give birth. And it's just so annoying. Heading back to my point about Wendy's real frustration that she's not allowed to voice on the show because it's a reality show that's supposed to feel real. Wendy knows that she is supposed to start some crap everywhere she goes, or at least she feels that way as a Real Housewife, and all of these women, quite frankly, feel that way. There are gonna be conflicts on these trips. They're never like just haha, have fun, drink wine. No. So that is why she doesn't want a baby there. My personal bone to pick with Ashley is, why is she so comfortable with her child being in the middle of yelling constantly? Like, this time they did end up screaming right in front of the baby per usual. Robyn had to take him and walk away. Meanwhile, Ashley is there engaging in the screaming in front of her infant. Like, Really? You're afraid of like walking him down the sidewalk or like not using breast milk or this or that, but you're perfectly fine with him constantly being in the middle of screaming matches between a bunch of women. That was literally the fourth time that he's been in the center of a lot of screaming. And it is not good for babies to constantly be in the midst of screaming. She came with a nanny and everything. So I feel like, listen, like she should have prearranged with Monique for the nanny to have the guest house so that he could be away like that. And she could have snuck away to be with Dean this whole time. Like no one wants to be around a crying baby and stuff in the middle of a girl's weekend. No. But again, Wendy's delivery was not great. And she played really dumb about being a first-time mom. Like, you know, you're not a first-time mom. Your new baby Cameron is your third baby. Like, it's nowhere near the same as Ashley just having a baby. One thing I really cannot stand this season is Gizelle and Robyn and Monique sometimes even like being apology police, trying to get everyone to apologize to Ashley. They did it with Candice. Then they tried this episode to do it with Wendy as well. Like, Ashley is a grown woman. She's actually one of the nastiest housewives in history. She's done a lot of really incredibly nasty things to each and every single woman at the table, exposing them. So why do they all act like she's like some kind of like sacrificial lamb that needs to be protected? Like they keep trying to demand people to apologize to her, and that is just not going to happen. These are all grown women as well. They will apologize when they feel like they want to. And if they don't, they don't. You're not going to force one out of them. Like, who even wants a disingenuous apology anyway? I really can't stand that this season. By the way, speaking of that dinner table, I really loved, I gotta say, Janelle clocking Candice for her nose job. And I noticed that in kind, Karen, as a protective, like warm mama bear of the group, shaded Gizelle for getting back together with her philandering husband. She's like, oh, well, what about you? Your husband was having all these babies on your ass. So how does it feel getting back together with someone like that? And Gizelle, like the, you know, bird she is, talked about how they trust each other. And Karen in her talking head said it right. How do you trust someone who had all these outside kids on you with the congregation? Honestly, Gizelle needs to do better, you know, at the very least for her daughters, because this is a very shameful example to be setting of, you know, what they should be accepting in their romantic relationships. And they've been clocking her all season about it, like telling her, listen, our dad is not a good guy, like, especially not for you. What are you doing? And she keeps trying to like weasel him into conversations with them, and it's so like cringeworthy. Like, you know, like your friend when she gets her first boyfriend and she constantly tries to direct conversations to be about him low key. That is what Gizelle is acting like with this dirty DICKED ex-husband of hers, and it's really irritating her kids and me and my homegirls. And last but not least, I gotta say it, you guys, but Wendy's orange face, black hand combination distracts me every single scene that she's in. She's really got to figure out her foundation situation. It is no wonder she is Candice's friend, because Candice can't quite figure out her undertones either. She spent like her first, you know, every single season actually, with the exception of this one so far, literally being green. Actually, in some of her talking heads with a blue under eyeliner, she is green. And it looks a mess. So it is no wonder the two of them get along, not to mention their reckless mouths and determination to never back down and apologize, despite people giving them easy outs so that they can maintain relationships. These two are burn the bridges type of people. And I just can't get with Wendy throwing around her 4 degrees. I mean, really, so long as you can have like a bachelor's degree, you could probably continue on to have a master's or whatever other, or a second bachelor's degree. Like, it's just not everyone wants to be in school for as long as Wendy dedicated her life to being in school. And I personally don't even understand the need to have 4 degrees just to be a professor and an occasional political commentator on Fox News. You know what I mean? To be a journalist, a broadcast journalist, you only really need a bachelor's degree. And then to be a professor, you can do it with just like a master's degree or an MBA or something like that. So 4 degrees just to do 2 pretty like okay paying jobs, to me, doesn't make financial or time investment sense. But like the fact that she keeps throwing it around like everyone is going to be incredibly impressed with it is really annoying. When she says she doesn't talk to her kind in reference to Ashley, and people like her address her as Dr. Wendy, I cringed. I'm sorry, I cringe so bad at this woman. She tries so hard to pick beefs with literally everybody. She started with Karen. Why are you so bothered by whether or not Karen sleeps with her husband? Like, you keep bringing it up, and it's weirder and weirder each time because you hardly know this woman. So why are you saying that? Then, of course, her attempted beef with Ashley, you know, when she was just antagonizing her for bringing the baby there. She could have said it a lot more softly instead of just talking to Ashley like she's beneath her and all of that mess. I'm really trying to like you, Miss Wendy, but so far, I don't even want to say I dislike you. I'm just going to say so far, I'm staying on the fence. I noticed some things I dislike about you, but I also do notice some things that I do like about you. Another thing I don't really like about her, and I feel is very try-hard about her, are her facial expressions. Like anytime some drama is going on, she's in the background being so dramatic. You know, she's like, like she's just so much. You're like, relax, girl, relax. You make it so obvious we're watching like a reality television show and not just like a bunch of, you know what I mean? Sometimes you get lost in things and then you see someone so dramatically expressive that you're like, oh, this just feels so fake. Anyway, you guys, enough about me. Those are just my thoughts on what went down on yesterday's episode of the Real Housewives of Potomac. But as usual, I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about everything. So please make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below and we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.